way to start it off.
Yeah, it's great. You've been planning that one out?
No, it just came to me on the fly. That's basically freestyling this. What's going on?
Killing it.
YouTube, Periscope, podcast peeps, everybody. Monday, NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports. What is it, December 16th? 9 days from Christmas? We're getting there.
I know.
Getting there. We're almost there. I need Christmas. I need Santa Claus to bring me a bink in a legitimate contest. That's what I'm looking for.
I hear you, fella.
I keep getting coal under my stocking. Or under my tree, rather. Oh, fun weekend. Fun weekend. I broke another correct 100 yards and a touchdown pick for moi. Not that it matters. The rest of football was just irritating, as it normally is. I love it. It's almost gone. Thank God.
You're done, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't be less interested. However, we do have a little bit of football to talk about if you're interested.
I'm always interested.
So right now,
could it be Alex Baker by any chance?
It is Alex Baker, who had himself a bit of a day yesterday. Cleaned up pretty good in his finals. I've got it up on the screen right now for DraftKings, so I'm going to minimize our stupid faces and pull this over here. So Alex finished fifth. So Alex finished fourth. And let's see where else. 14th and 35th. Ultimately came clear with 610K in the final for DraftKings.
Is that good? That's good, right?
It seems like it'd be okay.
Like I'd be okay with that if it were me.
Yeah, I can't imagine being bummed about it. But yeah, the boss man himself finished fourth, had 5 entries, and made himself a decent chunk of change, 610 large. I think did he finish fifth on FanDuel, somewhere in that neighborhood?
I'm not sure. What I do know is
in front of me right now. I could try to pull it up.
Like that is more than like households make. Many households in this country, more than they would make in a
couple years.
More than that. I mean, yeah. I think
a lot more than my parents are going to make over a couple years. That's for sure.
Yeah. What's the average household income in America? Like 50?
I would guess it's lower than that, but I don't really know.
63,000. So just throwing it out there, you're talking like taking 8 years to make that. It's amazing. 9 years, maybe. I don't know. Not great at math, but you get the point. Sure. It's a lot of money. And congrats, Alex.
Yeah.
So, give me some of it.
That I agree with too. So I've got his lineup here. Derek Carr, the quarterback that got him there. He had Saquon. Was it Ty Johnson from the Lions? I'm terrible at football.
Ty Johnson's from the Lions. Yeah, Bo Scarborough was out.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Conley, Amendola, Julio. That late Julio touchdown proving quite big for Alex on that one.
One of the best finishes I've seen all year in a football game too. I was on air on Sirius 210 XM87, by the way, Saturday and Sunday. Awesome radio. I did a solo show yesterday and like was trying to contain myself watching it because Austin Hooper had one right before that. And
it was a touchdown.
I don't care what anyone says. That was a touchdown, dude. Like for Alex's sake, I'm glad it wasn't.
Right.
But that was a touchdown. And then the Julio one, that was reversed. And then the Julio one was reversed from no touchdown to touchdown. Just an awesome finish against a really good San Francisco team.
My wife has Julio in fantasy. She also has Cooper Kupp. So she was just sitting there, and every time she would open her phone, she was like, "I've got like 8 more points. What?
Oh yeah,
I've got 8 more points again."
Incredible. I had Julio in a dynasty league. I was playing against Cooper Kupp. I'm up by 55 with Kamara. He has Kamara, so I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
Cue the career game, but Cooper Kupp's final drive was like all of his production.
Yeah. He also had Miles Sanders, so hell of a day. She's off to the finals. Good for her.
Nice.
Yeah. Chris Carson as well. So big day for her. Happy for the wife. Finishing off Alex's lineup, Waller, McCaffrey, Eagles. And 500 large just for that spot.
The guy that won it had Boston Scott. And Greg Ward.
Wow.
2 value Eagles with no Carson Wentz.
I mean, you don't need Wentz in that scenario, I guess.
I don't think you do. Also, keep in mind that Greg Ward touchdown was on the Eagles' final play of the game.
And it won him $2 million.
$2 million.
Actually, did it? Do you know how?
I thought so.
Do you know how long that touchdown was?
How long? How many yards?
Yeah. Because if I take 6 off of his score, he's at 214.9, so he's still up by 1.1.
I think it was around the 10.
Okay, so rushing play or receiving play?
Receiving.
Okay,
touchdown.
so that would be 7. So that would take him. Yeah. He would need. He's ahead by like 0.1 if you don't have any yardage on it. So just sneaks him over for first.
So you're saying even if it was a 0-yard touchdown and it was just a reception for a 1 yard and a touchdown for 6, he still would have won?
Yeah, so if there were no yards involved, he would lose 7 points. He would have 213.9, which would have beat Mr. Good Seats by 0.08.
Oh, okay. Well, the touchdown was 4 yards.
So that's 0.4 of a point. So he would have got him by basically a half point.
Damn.
Needed it. 2 mil. Meanwhile, Mr. Good Seats is like, man, I only won 985,000 on that second place. I'm sure that's exactly how it went down. I think it's fascinating, and obviously this is a small field contest, 180 entries. I think it's fascinating to see it go Mahomes, Winston, Goff, Carr, and Winston, Rivers, Watson, Mayfield, Garoppolo. Does not matter who your quarterback is.
No.
And one of those guys had way more fantasy points than the others. Didn't matter.
No, it didn't. I mean, Derek Carr, I had a lot of Derek Carr, and I felt so good about that early on because first drive of the game, he throws a 40-yard touchdown to Tyrell Williams, who you're obviously going to play.
Yep.
And then Derek Carr and the Raiders in their last game in Oakland, just decided that they were going to stop playing against the Jaguars team that stopped playing 4 weeks ago. Really crazy.
God, I hate the NFL so much. I really, really do. I really, really do. Third place lineup was Peter Gibbons. It's the only one that I see at the top that had the Kenyon Drake 42.6 burger.
Kenyon Drake. Yeah, that was just crazy.
It's just like a mix of all these dudes at the top. Fantasy football, man. Fantasy football. But anyway, we needed to touch on this because the boss man had himself a hell of a day, and we need to talk about that. So big ups to the boss. Big ups to Alex.
That's right. Congrats again, brother.
I need to update the strategy show ticker because in case you guys haven't realized, this is an EMAC.
And I'm not EMAC.
No, you are not EMAC. You know where you can find EMAC, though? He writes this article called The Cash Building Blocks.
Yes, he does.
And since we are brought to you by Yahoo Sports, what I'm going to do right now is drop in this link to the Cash Building Blocks article. Scroll to the bottom after reading. Click the link to sign up at Yahoo. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Get yourself up to $30 in YSRPs, them Yahoo Sports rewards points. And just for the people that are like, why aren't you talking about the NBA? Just leave then. I don't really care. We're going to talk about the final for DraftKings yesterday. It's preposterous.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. We wouldn't. Yeah. Plus, we have a solid hour and 19 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, we're gonna talk about the guy who named this website and how he just won $1 million over the course of the entire NFL slate.
Yeah, and one more thing. If you've watched the show with Josh and myself before, this is par for the course. So
yeah,
well,
at least this is on topic. I mean, it's still DFS.
Yeah,
you're lucky it's not a 25-minute Red Dead conversation,
which is very possible. I mean, we've gone off the rails. I would consider this staying on point.
Yeah, I agree. It's the biggest contest in the entire industry for the entire year, right?
Yeah.
That DraftKings NFL final is the biggest contest we'll have. Let's just sweep that garbage under the rug, right?
Yeah, no one cares about that.
Go to Yahoo, get them YSRPs, $30 worth of them. You can play lower management fee contests. You can play a large majority of 10 max contests. It's the only place you could become a baller, which I think is pretty essential.
And very true.
Yeah, it is. It really is. They've got CSV edit now, so go check it out. It's really that easy. It's a great place to play. You're going to find softer competition. You should find it easier for yourself. That's where we're all trying to win some money. That's an easier place to do it. And finally, if you want to sign up at awesemo.com, get some tidbits from the number one player in the world, the guy that just brought in many, many multiples of $100,000 yesterday just from the NFL. Sign up. Awesemo.com/join. Use the promo code NBA Strategy for 50% off your first week. Only works on weekly packages now, not monthly. What you want to do is use that promo code NBA Strategy. One big word. Get yourself 50% off. We've got a 7-gamer. I'm pretty happy about it. I got nervous that I was going to open this up and see that we had like 11, and I just knew that I wasn't going to be interested in talking about it.
Only 7.
Only 7. I'm ready to dive in if you are.
Let's make it happen.
You and I are still going to need every second.
Let's hope not.
Not confident. Not confident. Detroit Pistons, Washington Wizards. Pistons 117 implied total, Wizards 112. We are kicking it off with, the game that we need to talk about for sure. We'll start on the Pistons side, where Andre Drummond is still questionable with that eye injury, avocado nonsense. It's also possible that Blake Griffin doesn't play, had an MRI on his knee. As of right now, I have them both in. And it's going to be hard to get away from either one of those guys if they're playing. If one of them sits, the other guy is going to be crazy popular because the Wizards are still playing with just Jan Mahinmi as a legitimate center. Andre Drummond is going to absolutely eviscerate this Wizards team if he is able to be on the floor. And I think Blake Griffin's going to do the same thing. I love both of these guys. I like Derrick Rose on FanDuel for $5,700. He's $400 cheaper than he is on DK. And this game is just fantastic from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, what's strange to me is you had Andre Drummond, who was in Mexico City, ate an avocado, had an allergic reaction to one eye. And by the way, what a bullshit excuse. There is just simply no way this is from an avocado. Okay. No way. I don't buy it for a second. Don't worry. I'm not going to get into my theories. I see you looking like, oh, he's going to do it, isn't he? Nah, I know our audience better. Well, not our audience. Our audience is pretty cool about most stuff, but
you don't want Tom to yell at you about what you think happened to his eye.
Yeah. I don't want HR coming at me. Put it that way. You guys have an imagination.
Stay away, Jordan Frank.
So what's odd is that he has this allergic reaction prior to Thursday's game. He plays Thursday, and then he doesn't play Saturday. So I have no idea. And he was expected to play on Saturday, but they were waiting to see what the reaction to light was, his sensitivity to light. So I don't know, but I guess I would say I have him in as well, since he was expected to play Saturday, didn't, but also did play on Thursday. In the event that he doesn't play, Christian Wood, I think, is still reasonably priced because on a per minute basis, that guy is a monster, and he's going up against the Washington Wizards. So
if he doesn't play, he's 3,800 on FanDuel. Just lock it in.
Lock it in. Yep. And then with Blake Griffin, this is tough because you're dealing with the knee injury. It's soreness, but there's definitely a possibility, Josh, that it's been affecting his absolutely putrid play.
0.88 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days.
It's crazy. Look at his last 3 games too. He's shooting for 4 for 32 from the field, 1 for 16 from 3. Downright abysmal.
Not good.
And it's not even that it came against this difficult of spots. Actually, 2 of them were massive pace up spots against Houston and New Orleans. So, in the event that he doesn't play, well, you're probably going to see a lot of Markieff Morris. You'd see a lot of Morris even if Drummond doesn't play. And Morris is 3,900 on DraftKings. And Thon Maker, I mean, you have to think, right? And correct me if you think that I'm off here, but if Drummond and Blake both sit, of those three guys, Christian Wood, Morris, and Thon Maker, all of them at their respective price points, because Thon Maker is minimum salary, could have some viability.
Absolutely. 100%. Especially in this matchup. It's
everything.
Exactly. It's everything. It's going to be really hard to get away from anybody that plays in the front court for the Pistons today, depending on who's expected to get those minutes. And thank God we get this game at 7:00 and it's the starter. So we'll have this information. We don't have anything to worry about there, or at least we shouldn't have anything to worry about there. If, let's say they're both in, do you prefer Drummond or Blake? This is more of a DraftKings question.
If they're both in?
Yeah. Blake Griffin is $5,900.
I know, it's crazy. It's funny because when you asked that question initially, I was like, well, that's the dumbest question I've ever been asked.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play both of them together. If they get cheap enough, like if Drummond were like 8,400, I would be fine playing both of them together.
I would play both. I would play both of them together today.
I'd play both. Yeah,
on DraftKings for sure.
I keep forgetting about this matchup. Like you have to factor this matchup in. It's a preliminary show, so I'm learning stuff with you guys as we go along here. I think this would be one of the very few spots where I would play the both of them together. So, Wizards second fastest paced team in the league. They are the worst team defensively. They're so bad right now that on the season, they are allowing almost 2 more points per 100 possessions than the next worst team, which is the New Orleans Pelicans. So that's really bad. I could see playing both of them. If you're asking me which one do I prefer more, it's still going to be Drummond, just because Drummond is so much more efficient and he's such a better player.
Yeah.
But I'd go with both. And if both are out, I would have no problem running out Christian Wood and Markieff Morris in the same lineup, preferably all of my lineups.
Yeah, if Drummond and Blake both are out, I would imagine that I would have 100% Christian Wood, especially on FanDuel at 3,800.
Right.
Like, that's going to be really difficult to get away from. Because he's a power forward. It's not like you're getting him at center. Like, it's just locked and loaded 3,800.
Absolutely.
I love it. This won't matter all that much, although if those guys start going out, it becomes even more of his offense. But I think the price for Derrick Rose at 5,700 on FanDuel is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with that price at all. 5,700. He does have some upside. Like when Derrick Rose gets going, he's gonna get force fed the rock. And I think you have to consider, if Blake is out, how much that affects Rose, not so much his playing time, but his opportunities and his usage. And I think it would be pretty significant. Also, think about this. On the season, he's averaging 23.6 minutes per game. His last 4 games, 26, 28, 26, 27. So I actually don't mind bumping his minutes up a couple. Yeah. And if you do that, he's going to be a lot more appealing. Even 2 additional minutes for Rose, if you're going 25 to 27, will probably make a big difference, specifically on FanDuel.
I had him in for 24 for the longest time, and I just now bumped him to 26. So.
26. I did the same thing, 24 to 26. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's going to make a pretty notable difference.
Yep. It pops up pretty aggressively for me on FanDuel. Still behind Drummond and Blake if they're in, but just by a hair. And honestly, I don't really know what to do with Blake. This is a guy who is playing at like a 0.9 fantasy point per minute rate, and I have him as a 1.14 guy. Hard to see that big of a gap, so it's a tricky balance. I love seeing people be like, oh, I can't play Blake now, never Blake, whatever, because that just lets me know that I should stay there, but man, he does not look good. 2 super chats came in that time. Michael Jackson said Thon Maker gonna have 12 points, or gonna have 12 blocks, 10 points. Woo.
Well,
I hope not.
We appreciate that super chat,
yes,
for sure, but that is a ludicrous statement, Michael Jackson.
Yes, it is. And then Ryan Ogden, which is one we definitely want to hit on. Just want to give you a shout out for the great info you guys provide daily. Helped take first and won $25K last night on FanDuel. Get that paper, Ryan.
That is awesome.
What we like to
Congrats,
see, man.
man.
For
That
real,
super
congrats.
chat better be for a couple hundred.
I think you got the decimal point wrong.
I'm just joking.
Not a serious statement, Ryan. Congratulations, man. Go waste that money on all sorts of good stuff. Not us.
Yeah.
Josh, you do know that he sat out the second half of Houston game with knee soreness. Why would that go away? I don't care if it goes away. I don't care if his knee hurts. I care about what his price is. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we mean? We do like. I don't know.
I don't have a cell in my sheet where I type knee injury and it takes off like a certain percentage of his production.
Well, the salary's baked into whatever's going on with him is baked into his salary.
Mm-hmm.
Put it that way.
It's not like he's not shooting. He's just shooting poorly.
Horribly.
Yeah.
But it's baked into the salary.
Right. I mean, not so much on FanDuel where he's 7,200. A little bit easier to get away. He's 5,900. Like, that's just... I've got the target score at 5,900 on DraftKings today. 42 fantasy points. Okay, like, he stinks, but I'll take my shot. I can't imagine getting away from Blake on DraftKings.
Here's the thing. The Washington Wizards right now are the best matchup in the league for any team. Hands down. That's not hyperbole. That's not me just throwing out like arbitrary nonsense. It's real. They are.
Yep.
They play at a second fastest pace and have the worst defense. But here's what makes them even more appealing to play against. They have a top 5 offensive rating, right? So think about this, Josh. Not only are they playing at an elevated pace, one of the fastest, not only are they allowing more points per 100 possession than any team, but they're also scoring enough points to be so bad defensively, but actually keep games competitive. You can't beat that.
No, you really can't. You really can't. It's the perfect storm for a fantasy game. I mean, it was 10 days ago he went for 43 against Indiana. It's not like it was, just 7-17, got to the line a bunch. Sure, he's dinged up. But if he is in, I'm in. They're not running him out there if he's like, I need to be out for 3 weeks. So if he can play today, don't overthink it. He's too cheap. And then just, play Drummond because whatever. Jan Mahinmi is not going to slow him down.
Are you on anyone else from Detroit?
A little bit of Luke Kennard on DK, I think, is fine. 5,400. 5,800 on FanDuel is okay, but it's pretty much just Rose.
Okay. Yeah, Rose, and then the front court. Like, no matter what happens in that front court, you're not going to have a better spot, like, on the slate.
Let's talk the Wizards. As I mentioned, we still have no Mo Wagner. So we're going to see Jan Mahinmi, at least, especially in this spot. Jan Mahinmi is going to need to play every single minute he can. That dude is going to use all 6 fouls. They don't have a choice. If Andre Drummond is in, Jan Mahinmi is going to need to be out there as much as he possibly can be. I gave him 24 minutes. I'd like to give him more. Who the hell knows?
I mean, what a dog shit performance from him the other day.
He's not good.
I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, that means you don't play him. That's far from what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, how much do you need to go your way before you can start producing? I mean, they were down everyone in that team. I think we should probably look. Oh, and by the way, they got smoked by the Memphis Grizzlies, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you look at Jan Mahinmi. He plays 5 minutes and 35 seconds, and then gets subbed out for Davis Bertans. So then they're running a Bertans, Bonga, Hachimura, Beal, Smith lineup. Then the rest of the bench comes in. Admiral Schofield in this game. I said in the deep dive that I wrote on Saturday, the only way Mahinmi doesn't get minutes is if Admiral Schofield comes in and gets significant run.
Yep.
I said it was unlikely. I thought it was. Because if you remember 2 weeks ago, on December 3rd, I think it was, they were down Thomas Bryant and Mo Wagner and Jan Mahinmi. All 3 of them. and Schofield still only played 6 or 7 minutes.
Was that the one where Schofield played earlier in the day for the G League affiliate?
Yes, it was. He had a double header, one for the G League and one. Just crazy. So, I mean, if Schofield's going to get these minutes, then that's concerning. Jan Mahimi did not return until 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter, and then he starts the third quarter, plays almost 8 minutes, and never returns. Now this game was out of hand, but even if you were to take his second quarter rotation and add, let's say he closes the game, you add instead of 4 minutes, give him 6, because oftentimes guys that close it out will get more minutes in the fourth quarter than they did in the second. That's still only giving him 23 minutes at 4,100. Is it crazy to get there? No, but I'm also just not convinced that Scott Brooks cares about having a big guy out there, and that's my biggest concern.
I think he has to care in this one.
I would think you would certainly think that you need a traditional center out there, but I don't know. I mean, how long was he out there when Valanciunas was on the floor?
At the least, though, Valanciunas significantly less dynamic from an athleticism perspective. You can get away with just helping there. Drummond it's so bad.
How many minutes? Here's the thing, though. How many minutes are you going to give Mahimi? Because I'm not going overboard here.
I gave him 24.
I give him 23 or 24. Yeah,
I gave him 24. I mean, they want him to play 30, probably.
I guess.
In this spot. Again, this is all if Drummond is in. If Drummond is out, then who gives a shit? Like, they don't care about Mahimi anymore. You don't need him. But
for sure.
Like, Rui Hachimura can't guard Andre Drummond for 24 minutes of this game.
No, I know. It's a concerning spot for sure. And you have to think that he gets in there and gets a decent amount of run. By the way, Garrison Matthews got in this game for the first time since October 25th.
Who?
Played 5 minutes, and that was not to start at the end of the fourth quarter in total garbage time. This game was probably out of reach at that point anyway. But just keep that in mind that we saw another guy come in and get a 6-minute stint to end the third and start the fourth. However much that matters, I don't know. But we want this rotation as thin as humanly possible.
Search for him right now. Goofy ass picture. Went to Lipscomb. I'm not going to worry about him all that much.
Oh no, I'm not as much worried about him. Just I would like the rotation to be as condensed as possible.
Absolutely. So the guy that I like the most here is Troy Brown, 4,800 on FanDuel, 5K on DraftKings. Not even getting all that much ownership. I'm going to have a lot more than the 16% we project on FanDuel by like multiple of 2 or 3. I have Isaiah Thomas in right now. I don't think that he or Ish Smith are particularly interesting, although Isaiah for 4,800 needs to at least be mentioned if he's back. And if you're getting to any amount of Beal, I don't think you're mad about it given the scenario. 9,400 on DraftKings, very realistic. Would you rather have Bradley Beal or Andre Drummond if you were in?
Andre Drummond.
I agree.
Yeah, basically the same price. I prefer Drummond there.
What else do you like from Washington?
I like Detroit more. I can tell you that much, but and I agree with you on Troy Brown. I mean, Bonga's not really getting a sufficient run, and that's kind of been the case. I would expect Troy Brown to play another, 30 or so minutes. Now, I guess one thing to be a little bit concerned about is he played through this blowout and he played the final 16 minutes of the game. Does he close it out if it's not a blowout? I don't know. Now, Bonga closed the game with him, with Chris Choza, Schofield, and Justin Robinson. That's a hell of a lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you're giving Troy Brown like 28 minutes, he'd probably still be an option here.
I gave him 30.
See, that's I guess you can. I guess you can do that. But I don't. That's a little bit more difficult for me. I think 30 is probably reasonable. And if you do that, you're probably going to end up landing on a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like you said, if Drummond's in, Mahimi's fine. Hachimura is probably still going to get 35 minutes here.
Yeah.
Davis Bertans probably still going to get 33 minutes. But like I said, the Schofield minutes are alarming to me. And it's not a guy you'd ever want to play, but he played 7 minutes, and basically if it wasn't for the blowout, he would have played 14 minutes.
Right.
And that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're taking 3-4 minutes away from Mahimi or from Rui or from Bertans, that's significant because their prices are coming up now. So I probably don't get to much of those guys.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, it's Troy Brown is my priority. Isaiah and Mahinmi are fine on DK. I think Rui is fine there as well. But Troy Brown's the only guy that like really stands out to me.
For sure.
All right, let's keep it moving. There was a lot to talk about for that one. This one a bit less so, at least on one of these sides. Toronto Raptors, Cleveland Cavaliers. Raptors 12.5-point favorites in Cleveland. Fred VanVleet still doubtful. We'll take a look at this Toronto side where big ownership coming in. Siakam is at 40% on FanDuel at 8,600, 20% on DraftKings at the same price. Kyle Lowry is 8,700 and 7,700, quite chalky on DK. Norm Powell, 5K on FanDuel. God, just raised his price. 5,500 on DK. He's projected for 42% ownership right now. He's my favorite FanDuel Raptor play. OG Anunoby in double digits in ownership. Serge Ibaka getting there on FanDuel for 5,700, which seems incredibly incorrect. Siakam, Lowry, and Norm Powell. I want to have these guys for sure because Cleveland is the worst defense in basketball. 13% worse than average over their last 15 games on a per possession basis. Terrible.
Yeah, they're very bad. You know what's crazy about Serge Ibaka? He's not playing a ton of minutes, but his usage has been insane this season. He has a 26.3% usage rate, 17% rebounding rate, and a 4% block rate. His per minute production has been insane. Now, he's too expensive. What's Serge Ibaka's price on FanDuel?
5,700.
Yeah, see, that's a little bit tough because he's averaging 1.2 DraftKings points per minute this season. And he's had some really great games. If he was a little bit cheaper, I would legitimately have interest in Serge Ibaka, but that's tough. Marc Gasol putting up his first big game in like 47 years. He had a huge one against Brooklyn, but I'm not paying for him because the guy's usage rate is still hovering around like 10, 11%, which is just insane for a guy that's getting 30 minutes per game. And God, Siakam's prices come up. Kyle Lowry's still very affordable. Let's talk about him for a minute, though. His minutes are huge right now. If it's a close game, he's legitimately playing 38 to 40 minutes. The only time he didn't since VanVleet has been out was a blowout loss to the Clippers where he lost 3.5 minutes, would have played close to 39. So he's now played 40, even since returning, forget about VanVleet, 41, 42, 38, 39, 35 blowout, and then 39 against Brooklyn. It's hard for me to get away from that against Cleveland. The concern is that this game blows out in favor of Toronto, but those type of minutes for Lowry, like close to 40 minutes in regulation per game, are insane.
I have him in for 37 right now, and he's popping as a really monstrous value on DK.
Yep.
Let's see, where is he? Yeah, I've got him 10th overall, which is a pretty big number for given his salary. Yeah, I love these guys. It's hard not to. They're going to meet very little resistance from Cleveland. 5K Norm Powell on FanDuel is just broken. That's a stupid price tag.
It is, and we've seen right now that Nick Nurse has really no interest whatsoever in giving these third-rate bench guys any minutes at all.
Speaking of third-rate bench guys, do you have any interest in Pat McCaw on DraftKings at the absolute minimum?
I do not. Not unless you know something that I don't. I'm going to be hard pressed to find anything really appealing there. I mean, you look at the bench. This game, the final minute, the bench was empty. Okay, so Boucher, Miller, Brissett, Pons. Never even heard of that guy.
You don't know Shamori Pons and O'Shea Brissett?
No.
Yeah.
Do you?
No. I mean, I know that they're on the Raptors.
Well, yes, sure, but No idea what they look like, where they're from, if they're even real people. So, yeah, Lowry would have played 40 in this game. Anunoby played. Was he in foul trouble?
OG?
I think he was in foul trouble.
I don't think so.
He was. He was.
He was?
Yeah, he got 2 fouls in the.
He missed that end of the rotation in the second quarter.
Well, he also had 2 fouls in the first. I mean, I'm assuming he would have come out anyway there.
Yeah, they brought everybody out right there.
Yeah, except for Powell and Siakam.
Right.
But yeah, I would say he lost about 5 minutes there, and then. So okay, he didn't get a fifth foul or anything in the fourth quarter, so he just came out.
Yeah.
Patrick McCaw though, how much of his minutes are tied to, like, who are his minutes tied to?
Who knows? I mean, that dude's playing 4 separate positions. I gave him 20.
I don't think
for
they're
this
tied
game.
to anybody.
Agreed. He can slot in for any one of these guys: Lowry, Powell, OG. He can replace any one of those guys, and you can move people up and down a spot.
Basically, using him as like an all-purpose, like a utility guy, just anywhere you need him. Because his minutes right here, if you look at him, they don't really correlate with anything at all.
No, I mean, I think he stayed out there because OG wasn't finishing that second quarter run. I think that's the most direct comparison. But he can just sort of mix and match and rotate through.
Yeah, I guess. I still don't have a lot of interest though, because
that's fair.
First of all, I'd be projecting him for. There's no way I'm giving him 29 minutes.
No,
that's just
like I said, I gave him 20.
Happening. Right. You give him 20 minutes, low usage player off the bench. I don't see myself getting there at all.
Okay, just wanted to point it out because I'm guessing people ask about him given the minutes that he had.
Yeah, and he did get run.
We got 2 super chats in the interim. I want to hit on these quickly. Brandon Key signed up yesterday. I have an hour a day to research and build lineups. I play around $25 a night. Suggestions on the best tools and contests to enter. My recommendation would be to enter the lowest dollar contest you can find. Quarter entries, dollar entries. The lower you're entering, the higher you would expect your ROI to be. You're playing less quality competition. So get into the stuff that people that pros are not going to be entering. Try to enter contests where you are entering as many lineups as you possibly can in there. So even if it's, $1 single entry contest, you don't want to just throw one $25 entry into a GPP that has a bunch of people playing 150 at $25. It's going to be a tough sell. If you're using tools on the site, Lineup Builder is going to be your friend, and the Boom Bust tool is going to be your friend in constructing those individual lineups in short order. So thanks for joining, though, man. Glad to
Appreciate you.
And then Derek Burns, circling back to Ryan Ogden's victory, said, okay, mine doesn't sound as awesome as 25K, but I got my very first place in the $1,500 pick and roll. Only 165, but hey, a win's a win. Thanks, guys, for everything. I agree.
Congrats,
a win is a win.
A win is a win.
You feel like the money is great. Don't get me wrong. But just knowing that you are at the tops of that contest, you feel great no matter what contest that is.
Absolutely.
Cleveland side, Colin Sexton in double digits on DK and ownership. Darius Garland at 10. Larry Nance at 10% on FanDuel. I'll have a little bit of Tristan Thompson at DK at 5,600. I don't want anything from Cleveland. This is terrible.
No, I very, very rarely do. The only guy I've had a little bit of interest in recently is Clarkson, but on this slate, I don't think it's entirely necessary. Plus, his minutes came back through the floor last game. He had gotten 29 and 31 in 2 games before that, and 26 prior to that, actually. They've just been so volatile, though, and I don't know what to do with him. He is like a 27% usage guy, but it's a garbage matchup against a good Toronto team. There is really nothing here that I'm interested in. If you're talking about Kevin Love, it's another spot where, like, I'm not going to project him for 32 minutes. And if it ends up biting me like it did against the Spurs, that's fine. But over the last 30 days, he's averaging like 28 minutes per game. So I don't think I can do it.
We're on the same page.
They're 12.5-point dogs.
Right.
Too.
There's just not a lot to want to get to from Cleveland. Second lowest implied total on the slate is just Raptors are good. Even without some of these, like even without Van Vliet, they're just way better.
Yep.
Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs is an 8 o'clock game. Rockets 10-point favorites at home against the Spurs. And they have the highest implied total of the slate. Wow. James Harden is at 33% ownership on FanDuel, 8 on DraftKings, where he's 12,900. Russell Westbrook, 10-4 and 9,600 in the teens in ownership. Then Capella getting a little love on DK. Daniel House getting a little love on DK. I like House on DraftKings at 4,300. I like Capella most of the Rockets on DraftKings, followed closely by Westbrook. Hard to get to Harden with any sort of real huge volume. And then flipping a coin between Harden and Westbrook on FanDuel. It's always a little bit easier to get to Harden on FD in comparison. Talk to me about these Rockets against just a putrid San Antonio team.
Man, Harden was so disappointing the other night. And it's crazy to say that. The guy had 39 real points.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's his projection every night.
I know. And that's the thing. Like, he got up 33 shots, played 38 minutes. And the crazy thing too is this game was close. Like, it was decided by 8 points, and Russell Westbrook was out. That was not what you were looking for. It certainly wasn't what I was looking for. I'll tell you that much.
He's taken 98 shots in his last 3 games.
Amazing. It's funny to see the snowflake next to his name on DraftKings when he has 59 fantasy points.
That's craziness.
But that's the way it is. Against the Spurs, there's obviously nothing about this matchup that concerns you, and there shouldn't be. They're 10-point favorites too. It does have a 232.5 total, which is, I guess, a little bit surprising. I just don't think I can get there at this price. Russell Westbrook was held out for rest purposes. He'll be back today. There's nothing about the Spurs that is worrisome. They're not a good defense. They play at a middle of the league pace, so that's all great. But I mean, James Harden's price tag, specifically, let me say on DraftKings specifically, 12,900 is absolutely insane. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic is out though. So when you're looking at the highest priced options on this slate, you've got Harden, you've got Doncic out, and then you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. His team is a 11-point favorite at home. Without Doncic, this game is going to be an absolute, bloodbath. And then Russell Westbrook, like, those are your expensive guys on this slate. So it's tough to get the Harden there.
I agree. 12-9.
If Drummond and Blake are out, that'll change a lot.
Yeah.
But then everyone's going to have the same players. But I would imagine it'd make it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. Harden will become significantly more popular on DK than he is right now. And he's already chalk on FanDuel.
Yep.
On the San Antonio side, it's basically 2 guys for me. I'll have a little bit of DeRozan. I'll have a little bit of Aldridge. This is a pace-up spot. Neither guy looks particularly appealing. DeRozan in the low teens in ownership. Aldridge getting that love on FanDuel, not as much on DraftKings. I just don't have much interest in San Antonio at all in this spot.
Neither do I. I've just not really had much interest for a while now. If one of DeRozan or Aldridge is out, then we can have this conversation. But it's not been pretty this year at all.
It has not been pretty.
And DeRozan's overpriced, in my opinion. Like, with the way that he's played, I don't think you can get there. Him and Aldridge are just consistently giving you your 35 to 40. Well, Aldridge more so than DeRozan. Aldridge really hasn't been bad, right? Remember people earlier in the year being like, he's done, he's washed up, it's over. When you look at Aldridge's numbers, they're not terrible. Like, he's given you some pretty significant games.
Dude, they're the same player. DeRozan 1.11 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30. Aldridge 1.13. And that's basically exactly where I have their raw talent as well.
Exactly. And it's funny because there isn't even that much on this team, but I just don't see myself getting there. I don't. Is it a pace-up spot? Yeah, but that's not everything. Just again, on a 7-gamer, you're going to have a tough time getting to these guys. At least right now, I don't see this being a spot where I get to much of them at all. Rudy Gay's minutes are all over the map. Like, I have no idea.
30 or 20, that's for sure.
That's the thing. Like, I have no idea. I just put him at like 25 and hope that I'm right. But even that, he's played 23, 23, 21. I have no idea, seriously, no idea what to do with Rudy Gay. I don't think any of us do. So
I don't think Pop does.
Exactly. Which means that I probably just won't play him.
Yep. Yeah, I'm good on this one. Even Patty Mills had increased minutes lately. Can't get there.
Yeah, Patty Mills, the price has come up too, though. You know, he was $3,400 a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, or less.
Still just $4,300 on FanDuel, so it's not outlandish, but there are better options today that we are about to get to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Memphis Grizzlies, Miami Heat. Heat are 5.5-point favorites over the Grizzlies. As far as I know, everybody is available for the Grizz outside of Grayson Allen. Jay Crowder is questionable. Point that out. And then on Miami side, still no Dragic, still no Justice Winslow, and I believe Dion Waiters is suspended again.
Yeah, he's suspended for like 6 games, and I think he's on probably game 3 or so.
Well, so he did something else now. It's not just the pot gummy.
Not just what?
It's not just the pot gummy that he took and had his panic attack. I guess he missed
he
missed
got
a meeting.
Suspended for 6 games like 4 days ago, and I think they've only played a couple games since then.
Missed a meeting and then showed up on Instagram on a boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What an idiot, man.
Hey, if you're getting paid.
Well, not for long.
Yeah, well, he's a multimillionaire. At some point in time, you're just like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to work anymore.
You do not believe that.
What?
That it is not moronic what he's doing.
I mean, I don't think he's making the conscious decision to just live his life like however he feels.
You don't? What do you think? Someone's controlling him? What do you think?
No, I don't think he's thinking about it. He's just doing whatever he wants.
Yes, the definition, in my opinion, of moronic.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we can consider that wise, intelligent, savvy business move, but I don't think we're going to see eye to eye on that.
No. Oh, I mean, for his long-term future, it's not great, but if you're already a millionaire, I don't know. It's probably more fun than going to work out.
Now you're just trolling.
I'm serious.
No, you're not. You couldn't be serious.
If
you're too rational of a person to believe any of what you're saying right now.
If you're already making 4 years, $48 million, and you're just like, I just want to eat gummies and take planes and go hang out on boats, that seems more fun than basketball. But I can't just leave basketball or they don't give me that money. Yeah, get that paper.
Yeah, it's idiotic.
I agree.
Because how old is he? What's he like? 27 or something? 28? He's 28.
Right. Yeah.
28. Dude, discipline yourself for 4 more years while you still have some semblance of value, and then do whatever type of shit on a boat you want to do.
I guess. Is it weird that I'm in the shower while watching this show? It is to me. Not
at all. I post my phone up outside of the shower all the time.
I also do that. I don't know, but watching it is different.
I might, if I'm listening to something, if it's like YouTube, I might peek through the around the curtain to see what I'm missing.
We have Jaren Jackson Jr. at 6,300 on DraftKings at 13% ownership. No one else in double digits, and I have essentially no interest in anything here. A little bit of Triple J is fine. I don't hate Joe Val at 6,200, but really just not a spot where I want to have Memphis.
Yeah, I can't imagine you would want them. Memphis only 5-point dogs, though.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, it's in Memphis.
Yeah, they're still a pretty bad basketball team. But anyway, Miami's also been a whole lot better at home. I think you're talking about a Memphis squad that there's a ton of upside. There's just zero reliability with any of these guys. Valanciunas being one of them. I mean, I have no idea what to do with him. And I'm a big Joe Val guy, but at this point, like, I've thrown my hands up. It doesn't mean I'm not going to roster him at times, but like Taylor Jenkins is doing some really wild stuff with his minutes, and I have no idea how to project it right now. So look at this: 34, 32, 29, 21, 27, he fouled out, 25, 19, 29. It's all over the map. Don't get it.
Yeah.
Don't understand. But, here we are, and his price keeps coming down. It feels like one of those spots where Valanciunas is just going to erupt, but I don't know if you can place really any faith in him. Oh, and Brandon Clark, by the way, did play last game.
Yeah.
And Joe Val still played 29 minutes.
Miami side, I've got a lot of interest. So does the public. 5 guys on FanDuel between 14 and 20% ownership. Butler, Adebayo, Nunn, Jones, and Hero. On DK, we don't get Jimmy Butler there, but we do get everybody else. I love Jimmy Butler. I don't mind spending that much for Bam. 8,200 on DraftKings looks really good. $6K for Kendrick Nunn on both sites. All over that. Derek Jones Jr., 4,100 and 4,200. I think he looks like a really nice low-tier value play. I have a little bit less interest in Tyler Hero, but nothing too crazy. I'm in for this Miami side. I think this is a really nice spot.
Who are your favorite two favorite plays from the Grizzlies?
From the Grizzlies?
I'm sorry, from the Heat.
I was going to say, I don't have two.
From the Heat.
Jimmy Butler on both sites. Derek Jones on FanDuel. Bam on DraftKings.
Okay. All right.
Butler and Bam on Yahoo.
Bam Adebayo has just been incredible.
Yeah.
And he continues to put up monster numbers.
I'd
argue
so
that
many minutes.
A huge run. I would argue that 8,200 is actually not expensive enough on this guy.
I don't disagree. I have my head on Kyle Lowry.
What's that?
He's my number 8 today overall on DraftKings.
Bam is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's got a 20% usage rate, 18% rebound rate, 21% assist rate, 4% block rate, 2% steal rate. It's funny because him and Jimmy Butler have been very similar in the way they produce, in that they're just all across the stat sheet. And it's not one specific category that they're crushing. Jimmy Butler's averaging 21 points per game. That's not crazy good, but he's also averaging 6.5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, almost a block. Those are the type of numbers that you can really lean on when he has a poor shooting performance. Like against Chicago, Butler shoots 3 for 14, still has 43.5 fantasy points because he gets to the line 21 times, has 13 combined rebounds and assists. That's nice to be able to fall back on. And Bam's been the exact same way. I love players like that. Because when they do have that monster game scoring and drop 30 points, they're probably also giving you 12 rebounds and 5 assists with a couple stocks mixed in.
He's been phenomenal, playing monster minutes. Close to 1.2 FanDuel points per minute. It's perfect. 8,200 on DraftKings. You can't get away from that. I really love this Heat team today.
I'm with you.
I'm trying to see if there's anything slipping through the cracks here. I think Tyler Hero is going a bit over-owned, but if he gets 30-plus minutes, then I get it. I don't have him in for 30-plus minutes, but...
What do you have him in for, 28?
Yes.
Yeah. His minutes have been wild, too, though.
Yeah, 39, 24, 23, 41. I think 2 of those are overtime games.
It's crazy.
But one of those overtime games is the 23, so who knows?
Right, exactly. Kendrick Nunn's price is gotten a little bit outrageous too. He's 6K on DraftKings. The one fallback is he's playing a ton of minutes, and it seems like Eric Spoelstra has now, with Goran Dragic out, has basically said, "All right, I'm done toying around with how we're going to use you." With Justice Winslow also out. And we're going to just give you the minutes every single game. And that's what we've seen from Kendrick Nunn. 42, 42, 36, 38. He played 30, and I believe the first game Dragic was out, and then his minutes shot through the roof and haven't come back down. He's really only had one really good game, though. That was against Atlanta. And then he's been kind of quiet. I don't think it's the craziest thing, just because if you get 38 minutes from Kendrick Nunn against a Grizzlies team that has played at an elevated pace, pretty poor defense, and backcourt defense is definitely nothing to be worried about. Nunn's not a crazy option here, but it would be Butler and Bam. Those are the easy plays. We know that. And then you're asking, like, what are we going to get from Duncan Robinson? I don't see myself paying a 5K plus price tag for him. So I'd probably put Kendrick Nunn number 3 here. And then I'll throw this out there because nobody has been worse to me this season than Kelly Olynyk. I swear to God, every time I play this dude, he goes, shoots terribly and can't get on the floor or can't stay on the floor. Like against Chicago, 7 fantasy points, 17 minutes against Atlanta, 8 fantasy points, 0 for 5 shooting. I had a decent amount of Olynyk in both of those. Then he follows it up with 27 and 32 fantasy points. He is so volatile. I have no idea how to project him. And I don't think anyone does at this point, because if he comes out there at the end of the first quarter and he gets off to a bad start, his minutes are going to be cut in half. It's so frustrating.
Whatever day I think he's going to be good, he's terrible.
He's bad. Exactly.
Whenever I don't think whenever I have him in for 14 minutes, he plays 44.
Yep. Dude, it's like, how many times have you gotten Olynyk right this season?
0, I think.
Not much.
Yeah. The days that I get him right are the days that I get him right on accident, where I look after lock and it's like, oh shit, I ended up with like 4 times the field Kelly Olynyk. Right. I was like, oh, okay,
or the
cool.
day where, like,
that'll work.
Or the day where all of your other players are terrible, and Olynyk has a good game and it means nothing.
I don't have anything else.
But he's there.
I don't have anything else here.
No, Olynyk's there.
Yeah. Go Heat today.
Yeah.
You should hit the like button, I think. That would be really helpful for us. Maybe subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Not only do I like the Heat, but I like what we've got to offer for the rest of the day. Our NBA strategy syllabus is free today, so check that out. That usually goes up about an hour before the deep dive, or before the deeper dive, rather. We'll also have the NFL Top Showdown plays. We will have NHL free projections. Lofty's going to be up with Manny in about a half hour. He is going to be talking some Week 15 NFL lessons learned and how they can be applied for Week 16 in the NFL. I will have office hours behind the paywall at 1 p.m., so come join me for that. Link will be in our premium office hours channel in Slack. Jake will have his NHL strategy show at 4. Believe Alex Baker has his game plan stream at 4 p.m. I can't guarantee that right now. I haven't talked to him yet today. Normally that's the schedule. I don't know if he's going to have any traveling concerns coming back from Miami today. Lofty will be with me, I believe, for the deeper dive. Then I'll be pulling double duty with Chris Spags for Live Before Lock, if we can get somebody else on there potentially. And then NFL, who's the Monday night game tonight?
It is the Colts and Saints.
Colts and Saints, Live Before Lock, NFL Showdown Edition. EMAC and Nolan breaking that one down. 7:30 Eastern, right after Live Before Lock. Well, there we go.
Big day.
Big day. 3 to go. Milwaukee Bucks. Dallas Mavericks. Bucks 11-point favorites in Milwaukee. No Luka Doncic. Disgusting rolled ankle. Really gross to look at. Gonna be out.
Not good.
Gonna be out for a little bit. We'll start on the Milwaukee side, I guess. Giannis Antetokounmpo is 12-1 on FanDuel, 11-1 on DraftKings, and 30% owned across both sites. Look, I like him and all, and he's about as good of a bet to put up 50 fantasy points as anybody. A really scary spot to get him. The dude just doesn't play minutes. What do you want to do with him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I have less worries about him, it seems, than you do. Not just today, but like recently. It's very slate dependent for me though. Like if it's a slate where a healthy Luka Doncic is on it and he's basically the same price and Harden's on it and he's not egregiously overpriced or at least very expensive. And, you look across the slate and there just isn't that much there, but there's a ton of value. I'm more than willing to get to Giannis because when you do get those close games, good things happen. For instance, the Orlando game on the 9th. Now, it's a shame that I have to point out games that weren't blowouts. Totally aware of what I'm doing right now. But at 11-1, when Giannis does play those minutes, the 80-plus fantasy point upside is real. So I just always try and at least consider that, hey, if this game is competitive, Giannis is probably going to break the slate at 11-1, or at least come pretty close, or at least be at least be an asset in all of your lineups. So, I mean, that's the way I see it. They're big favorites, but they're always big favorites. There's nobody that can stop him. And if I put him at 31 minutes, I would imagine I'll still get a decent amount because James Harden is 12,900 and Doncic is out for a couple of weeks.
I don't know what to do with this dude. Like, I've got him in for 30 minutes, and that feels high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If the game's close, he's going to play 32 plus.
Right. It's just never close. It's not like this is new information, or like they've been blowing teams out aggressively for a year and a half. It's the norm now.
Yeah.
He's averaging since November 16th, 29.5 minutes a game.
No, I mean, I'm well aware. Well, I'm just saying that if, like, what's his ownership on DraftKings right now?
30%.
That's high. I think it comes down. But
like, what's the goal then? To project him for 32 and have 30% Giannis with everybody else?
Yeah, I guess. When he does get those minutes, there's nobody with a higher ceiling on this slate. I mean, James Harden is in there, but he's also $2,000 more expensive.
Right. That's sort of the problem, is there's no other natural way to go there. There's no alternative.
Right.
I can't imagine that I get to any Harden, barring any Pistons news. I assume that I still get to Giannis just because I don't have anywhere else to put that money. But I would rather just have a lot more of Westbrook and Beal and Drummond and Butler and Lillard and Bam and all those guys in like that high 7s, low 8 range.
A lot of it's going to come down to what happens with the Pistons too.
For sure. Only guy that I really have any interest in would be Dante DiVincenzo on FanDuel, where he's 4K. I think he gets the biggest minutes boost. I have him in for 24 right now. That could easily be more than that. And then Brook Lopez on DraftKings is only 4,700. I see no reason to get away from something like that.
By the way, Giannis has a 42% usage rate and a 39% assist rate with 2.01 fantasy points per minute in 293 minutes with Bledsoe off the floor this year. 2.01 fantasy points per minute. So, I mean, I'm still going to get to some of that, man. If this game is close or even remotely competitive, those rates are just nuts.
He's just, he's so damn good at fantasy and regular basketball, I guess.
It's crazy. And by the way, when you look at that last game against Cleveland, Bledsoe was out, and I think a lot of us assumed that George Hill would get the start. That wasn't the case. So the starting lineup was DiVincenzo, Matthews, Middleton, Antetokounmpo, and Lopez. And George Hill here ended up only playing 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would have closed this game out if it was competitive, but it's weird because he played 18 minutes in the second half when Bledsoe went down the other day. Bledsoe went down after 3 minutes. George Hill played almost the entirety of the second half after he went down. Didn't make a difference. He was the first guy off the bench. DiVincenzo was only played a 5-minute stint to start the game, but I don't know, man. It's kind of sucks because DiVincenzo is probably only going to play like 26 minutes, and now you just have Mike Budenholzer throwing around minutes to whoever he thinks it's necessary.
They play 12 dudes.
Exactly. I mean, he played 12, probably would have played 11. Frank Mason came in with the final 3 minutes in that game. I probably wouldn't have seen much DJ Wilson either, but even so, like, there's just so many wings. There's so many ways that Korver or Connaughton or Brown or Hill or DiVincenzo or Matthews can soak up those additional minutes. I have no idea what to do here. It's pretty unfortunate. I think George Hill is a reasonable tournament play, but don't assume that he's going to get minutes in the blowout off the bench. If anything, George Hill loses more minutes than anyone else in a blowout because he totally loses most of that second half rotation.
Yeah, I don't I have him in for 24 minutes. I'd be much more likely to play someone like Pat Connaughton unless you got word that George Hill was going to start, and I don't think that's going to be something that they do. I do expect George Hill to close a game that's close. But this is another 11-point game in Milwaukee, and for right now, I'm largely avoiding it. I'll get to whatever Giannis shows up because of value. That's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, I would rather have Harden. Giannis is $300 cheaper. It's just Harden's going to play 37 minutes pretty much no matter what the score is. On DraftKings, it's a much different decision. I would rather have Giannis, but there's a lot of people there already. As value opens up, it's only going to go higher. We got a lot to talk about for Dallas, though. No Luka.
No Luka. It's huge news. Really unfortunate too with how well he's played. It's a shame.
I know it might cost him a first-team All-NBA bid, depending on how the rest of this year shakes out. But
I'd say it's entirely possible. Yeah.
We need to talk about the most egregious piece of value here. Shout out to FanDuel for not changing anything regarding Jalen Brunson's salary. He is $3,700. He is the clear best play of the day on FanDuel. There are no other options. It's one with a bullet. Do you know what we have him projected for in ownership?
What's that?
78.
Wow, on a 7-game slate.
Yeah, 78%. I'll have 100 if we get to that point. If Pistons value opens up, that'll change it a little bit. So Jalen Brunson on FanDuel, just don't overthink it. Pace up spot, doesn't matter. Just going to play the minutes. He's in. We've got Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dwight Powell, all in double digits in ownership on both sites. DFS is getting, Dorian Finney-Smith getting a little bit of love on DraftKings. I don't have a ton of interest in DeLon Wright. I've said this one once before, and I paid for it. Don't have much interest in Seth Curry. I would say on DK, I would go Powell at 4K, DFS at 39, then then Brunson at 5,500. On FanDuel, I'm not all that enamored with anybody. Hardaway, probably my favorite guy. I thought that I would like Dallas more with Luka out, and I'm not entirely sure that I do right now. Milwaukee's just a really tough game.
Yeah, that Brunson price tag on DraftKings is a little bit extreme against this Bucks squad. I don't think it's entire. I'd say he's fine. Like, I still have him as a value, but there's nothing exciting about that salary at all. There really isn't. Seth Curry, he had that huge game. He's going to go back to being somebody that probably gets 26 minutes here, and maybe he's okay. He is really cheap, so I can understand that. DeLon Wright, I don't know what to make of him. Would he give him 18, 20 minutes here? So it would be Jalen Brunson on FanDuel, like you said. If you're not playing him, I don't know what you're doing. Even if he goes out and has a terrible game, it's still the clear play there.
There's no downside on FanDuel today.
No, there really isn't at all. Porzingis has seen his salary come up. I honestly, this is the question I have for you though. With Porzingis now at this price tag, $7,800 on DraftKings. Mind you, he has been a whole lot cheaper recently. I mean, he was down to, I think, 6,400 not long ago. With that being the case, with Doncic out, do you think Porzingis is still a good play here?
I don't mind it. 23% owned on FanDuel, 19 on DK. I mean, I'm anxious to see how they build the offense around him in the 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever that Luka ends up missing.
If they do,
I think they will. I think they'll want to start just letting him rip and see what they have and try to get him a little bit more integrated. But I'm not gonna go crazy here. 8,800 on FanDuel is kind of expensive. 7,800 on DK seems fine. He's a guy that I'll have, and we got him projected for around 20% ownership, and I think that's where I'll be. I don't have an opinion either direction.
The thing about Doncic, and here's why I do like Porzingis, even though this matchup sucks in terms of potentially being a blowout and just Milwaukee playing at a very fast pace, the fastest in the league, but also just being a spectacular defensive squad. And he'll have to go up against a good amount of Giannis, which is not fun. He's only played 129 minutes without Luka this year.
Yeah.
But he has a 33% usage rate, 1.52 fantasy points per minute, 18.9% rebound rate, 12% assist rate. The reason Luka being off the court, just like Giannis being off the court, is so important is because it's not just usage, it's not just assists, it's not just rebounding, it's everything.
Yeah.
And Porzingis should rebound better. Porzingis will clearly get more scoring opportunities. It's not one thing, it's everything that is voided when Luka Doncic is off the court.
You ready for this?
I'm always ready.
Shooting 45% effective field goal percentage with Luka off the floor. That's as bad as it gets.
Terrible.
Yeah. So that will go up just by default. That's shooting luck in a small sample.
He's also shooting below 40% from the field on the season.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. So don't go crazy over it.
No, the opportunities will be there.
Yes,
though.
they will.
There's that.
He'll have as many as he wants. All right. Is there anything else you want to do with these Dallas guys? The rotation of guards, whether that's DeLon Wright, Seth Curry, Barea, anything
if you're
else?
playing 150 lineups, I would imagine I'm just going to have a lot of them mixed in there.
Yeah.
I'll probably get a little bit of Dorian Finney-Smith at 3,900, which makes sense, but there's no priorities here. Tim Hardaway, he is entirely scoring dependent, and I think at 5,800, even on DraftKings, I know he's coming off a strong game against Miami, but there's nothing about 5,800 that makes him stand out as a premier play. He, much like Brunson at 55, he's just okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page there, I think.
Why, you like him more than I do?
A little bit.
Like I said, I think I'll have some Tim Hardaway.
Yeah.
I just don't see it being a spot. Like what I'm saying, Luka being off the court, I just mentioned how much it changes everything. But you have to put it in context. Like, yeah, it changes everything. But DraftKings did preemptively price a lot of these guys up. So just consider that, at least, not you, but the viewers, just consider that when you're plugging some of these guys in. Like, they gain this, but what is that compared to their salary? Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. I think.
I get
go
you.
ahead.
I got you. I don't have anything else in this game.
Me neither. I got something interesting for the next one though, so we can.
Ooh, okay.
Keep on cruising.
Is it from the Oklahoma City side or the Chicago side?
Chicago. So we can start with OKC.
Thunder are 5.5-point favorites at home against the Bulls. Terrence Ferguson might be back. Doesn't matter. You're not playing him or Abdel Nader or any of these goons regardless. Getting a little bit of ownership coming into Gallo at 5,900 on DraftKings. I'm not interested. I have a little bit of interest in Shea at 6,200 on DK. Schroeder, 5,700 on both sites would be my other piece, and he's basically unowned. But as per usual, I'm just not interested in rostering the Oklahoma City side. And no one is projected for more than 7% ownership on the Bulls. I'm essentially not interested in anyone here at all for this entire game. So the floor is yours. Go any direction you'd like.
This has been the case with me for a while now. There's just nothing from OKC that gets you excited at all.
No.
There really isn't. From top to bottom, just not a team that I'm really interested in rostering. The one thing I did want to point out, though, from Chicago, Denzel Valentine is actually beginning to emerge as somebody that's going to start playing a lot more minutes.
Hey, I don't want to cut you off. Somebody just rang my doorbell. You keep going on Denzel Valentine. I will be right back.
Do your thing. So he played 26 minutes last game. The funny thing is he's subbing in for Thomas Satoransky the past few games, and he's subbing back out when Satoransky comes off the floor. We saw that in the first half of this game. We saw it last game, and I believe the game before that, which is really strange. I don't know if he's actually getting backup point guard minutes, but he's out, and because he's out there with guys like Arcidiacono and Kobe White, but he has been one of the more impressive players on this team. And I think you keep continuing to see that Jim Boylen appears to be willing to give him more minutes. 23, 22, only 18 against Charlotte, but then 26 last game in a win over the Clippers. Denzel Valentine is super cheap. If Drummond and Blake Griffin both play, I would say he's a lot more valuable than if those guys are out, because it's hard to project him for a ton of minutes. I think you could give him 26 minutes here, just knowing that that he continues to be more involved. He's probable for this game. He was questionable. I think he's probable now. Got left ankle maintenance. But basically what I'm saying, Josh, is my expectation is Denzel Valentine continues to see more minutes off the bench on a Chicago team that is clearly in rebuild mode and looking to develop younger guys, or at least see what they have. And you're beginning to see that more often lately, where he went from playing anywhere from 10 to 14 minutes per game to 23, 22, 18, and then 26 in a win against the Clippers. Not only did they win that game, but Valentine played almost 17 minutes to close it out, played the entirety of the fourth quarter, closed that game out alongside Wendell Carter Jr., Zach LaVine, Laurie Markkinen, and Chris Dunn. I think you might see him in the closing lineup going forward. And if Drummond and Blake do both play and we lose value there, Valentine would actually be a viable value option to me that I would assume goes almost completely under or overlooked.
I like that call. I just bumped his minutes up because of it. I didn't realize that he was getting as many as he did. So,
and he keeps subbing in and out for Thomas Satoransky. I don't know if he's actually getting backup point guard opportunities.
I mean, look, Thomas Satoransky is a 3. He's not a point guard. He's the nominal ball handler for this team. But like Denzel Valentine and Thomas Satoransky are more likely to be guarding a mid-sized wing while all of these other guys are out on the floor.
I guess you could make that point. I guess. I mean, either way, and I don't think he's doing a ton of ball handling anyway, but the minutes are what's most important. Boylan seems to really be liking him, and he's played well in those opportunities too.
For sure. Like I said, I don't have anything else for these Bulls or Oklahoma City. This is a game that I'm not going to have a part of.
Them and Charlotte combined for 156 points the other day. I'm good on this one.
Final game. Phoenix Suns, Portland Trailblazers. Late night hammer at 9 p.m. This was a pick'em when I grabbed the line originally, so somewhere in that neighborhood now. 114.25 on both sides. I believe Devin Booker is questionable with something.
Within like a forearm bruise or something.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and assume he plays, but I have him in. Cameron Johnson probable, Dario Saric probable, so normal rotation here. I don't know. A little bit of Kelly Oubre at 7,700 on FanDuel, 7K on DK. There's not really a ton of ownership coming in here. Saric getting a little love on FanDuel. Frank Kaminsky getting a little love on FanDuel as well. But I'm not interested in either guy. I'm not really interested in much from Phoenix. These guys' prices are too high.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little lofty. I mean, the one benefit with Oubre is the huge playing time. Monster minutes for him. This game should feature a ton of scoring. It's right now got a 227.5 total, a little bit lower than I expected actually. But Oubre, if you wanted to get to him, I'm not opposed to it, just because he's seeing so much run. Dario Saric, that price tag is a bit rich for me. God, you're right. A lot of them are tough. If Booker doesn't play, then that clearly changes everything. And Ricky Rubio, even at his salary, I'd be willing to consider, just because of the value that he's going to offer with Booker off the floor. But if Booker plays, $7,900 on Rubio is simply too expensive.
We're on the same page. I don't know. Somebody is back at my house again, ringing my doorbell, and I'm going to kill someone.
So who is it? What's going on?
Was UPS before? I don't know.
No,
FedEx now? Well, I had to.
Do you have Ring?
I have to. No, I don't. We don't have a wired doorbell. Yeah, I have to sign for a package today. The first one wasn't the package. The second one is a case of wine.
You do have a wired doorbell.
No, we don't have a wired doorbell. That's the problem.
Oh, you don't need one. I have mine hooked up to Alexa, so it just tells you the door's ringing.
Interesting. Yeah, GQ, you can keep saying Booker is out. He's not out. He's questionable, but it's cool.
So, do you need to go get this?
No,
again?
I don't care now. I'm over it.
Okay. Mikal Bridges. Let me just say,
yeah.
His minutes 31, he played 30 plus minutes in 2 of his last 3 games, and he's really, really cheap. So in the event that you want to roll the dice on somebody like him, I can understand why you do that. But aside from that, oh, you know what? No, Booker was out last game, so that's injuries there. So I take that back. Probably only see 20 or so minutes from him. If Booker's out, that's the value comes into play, and that's all I have.
Hit on Portland. It's my case of wine. I'll be back in a minute. I love Dame, then CJ, then Whiteside.
All right. Well, see you later. I don't think there's anything huge from this game, but I would say this much. Neither team is really all that good. If you're taking a look at the total in this one, you've got what? 2-point spread, 1-point spread. Suns are 1-point dogs at home. Damian Lillard just has not been the same guy that we expected him to be, but his price tag is starting to reflect that. And I don't think there's any, I think it coincides with Carmelo Anthony being here too. You know, this is a 25% usage player now that is on this team, stealing away opportunities from Damian Lillard. Before that, you were rotating in no-namers that are nothing more than 3-and-D guys that aren't going to take up any usage whatsoever. Melo's got almost a 25% usage rate on this season. And as we know, when he has the ball, the offense grinds to a halt, and no one even gets assists on his opportunities, on his made field goals, which really sucks. But I do think Lillard at this price is fine. Hassan Whiteside's just been spectacular, and I would say that price is actually too low. You know, he's 8,100, but his minutes continue to increase, going up against the Phoenix team that, yeah, Aaron Baines, solid enough defender, but I can't say I'm super concerned about him. Frank Kaminsky's been getting a lot of run. My favorite player probably from this game would be Hassan Whiteside, just based on the elevated minutes and the insane production. One of only a few players in this league that could give you a triple-double with points, rebounds, and blocks, and you wouldn't be surprised.
How many minutes are you expecting for Whiteside?
I give him 32 every night at this point.
Okay, I have him in for 30. Maybe I need to bump that up an additional 2. I don't like. He's 9,500 on FanDuel. I'm not wild.
81 on DraftKings is too cheap. Look, he's played 34, 32, 32, 26, monster blowout win against the Knicks, 35. So he's played 32 plus in 4 of his last 5, and one was a blowout where he was on pace to play 33.
Sold.
There you go.
32 for Whiteside. Scal. Easy peasy. Wow, I'd have a hard time picking between these 3 guys for Portland on DraftKings. 8,400, 8,100, 6,500. Kind of a coin flip. Ownership kind of reads the same. They're basically all 20% owned. I greatly prefer Dame on FanDuel compared to the other 2. Only 8,700. What a price.
Is it though?
I think so. For Dame?
No,
8,700 on FanDuel?
Yeah. I was just saying while you were getting your wine that
finally I've been waiting on it.
Yeah, I'm not a wine guy. Not a big wine drinker.
Crazy.
I'm not huge I'm not huge on my wife drinking red wine, if I'm being honest with you.
It doesn't end well for you?
It's like we can rip shots all night, drink beer, and it's the best time. And then she drinks red wine, and like everything I've done over the past however many years surfaces. And I'm like, babe, it's midnight. Can we do this tomorrow? No, we're doing it now.
That's IPAs for me and the wife.
That couch is calling my name.
Yep.
But yeah, red wine, I'd like to keep it out of the house. Anyway.
Sum it up. Favorite plays on DraftKings today?
Well, I'll sum it up with this.
Yeah.
With Carmelo Anthony off the court, Dame has been a 1.28 fantasy point per minute guy. Melo really slows this offense. He grinds it down to a halt. 24.3% usage rate this year. You have to ask yourself, how much has he taken away from Lillard? When it comes to Hassan Whiteside, he's not going to take much away from him at all, because you're relying on some putback opportunities. And you know, the rebounds and blocks. Lillard 1.21 fantasy points per minute with Anthony on the floor. So it's not a huge decrease, but his usage is 26%. His assists are still up there, but I do think he takes a bit of a hit. And I don't know, does it coincide with the total lack of production that we've seen from him recently? It's got to have some effect,
Yeah,
but the minutes are there. The price is low. It's a good matchup.
Yeah, that's a stark difference. Would you rather have Kyle Lowry or Damian Lillard today on FanDuel? They are the same price.
On FanDuel?
Yeah.
Where they're the same price, I would still want Damian Lillard.
Okay, we're on the same page.
But his usage goes down 3% with Carmelo on the floor.
Yeah. See, I just see Dame at 87. We've got Lowry at 87 and Rubio at 86, and Dame just sticks out like a sore thumb there for me.
Yeah, it's still Damian Lillard there.
That's all I've got. Let me hit my favorite FanDuel plays. I'll kick it over to you for DK, and then we'll get you out of here to go talk with Manny.
All right.
So, as we just mentioned, Damian Lillard on FanDuel, but Jalen Brunson is the clear star at point guard and clearly across the board. Jimmy Butler on FanDuel at shooting guard is my fave, and then Norm Powell would be second. At small forward, it's going to be Troy Brown, Derek Jones Jr. If we have enough money, pretty easy to get up to Siakam or Giannis. Power forward is gross on FanDuel today. Good luck figuring this out. Give me Bam as a pay-up option. Give me some Blake Griffin at 7,200 if he plays. And then at center, if Drummond is in, he's the clear best option. Otherwise, good luck picking between Brook Lopez, Dwight Powell, and Jan Mahinmi. As far as I'm concerned, just load up on Drummond.
Yeah, for DraftKings, whoever's in the Detroit Pistons front court, in all seriousness, like whoever's there, I'll take them. Norman Powell's 5,500. Kyle Lowry 7,700. Both of those are really too cheap to ignore. I like Whiteside at 8,100 quite a bit against this Phoenix team. And then throwing one more in there just to touch on Giannis. He's 11-1. If the minutes are there, you're opening yourself up to another huge game. And if Giannis gets 32, 33 minutes, particularly with Bledsoe off the court where he's literally averaging north of 2 fantasy points per minute, that's a risk I'm willing to take, even at his ownership.
There we go, everybody. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We've got Laffy and Manny coming up immediately following this. We just hit the 11 a.m. mark now.
It'll be like 10 minutes from now. I gotta feed the dog.
There you go. Plenty of content coming up for the rest of the day. Strategy syllabus will be free. Special thank you to Yahoo Sports for being our presenting sponsor. If you want to sign up there, follow the link to Emacs article. Use the promo code AWESEMO. Get up to $30 in YSRPs. And then use the promo code NBA Strategy. One big word. You can get no free anything. 50% off your first week. See, we just changed it, and I am not going to have that read down for a while. It's awful.
Nope.
It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful. 50% off your first week with promo code NBA Strategy. Go to awesemo.com/join. Laffy and I will probably be back a little bit later, but best of luck tonight, guys. We'll talk to you tonight.
Good luck.